This video was recorded in front of a live virtual audience. Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker. Today I'm going to touch base on a topic that amongst the lovers of Chanel, the Chanel lover and collector community, is quite big of a debate or of a conversation or a question. And that debate or question being Chanel bags, made in Italy or made in France? What is better? What is worse? Should you only get the made in France or only made in Italy? And listen, I'm going to touch base on this, especially because a lot of you comment underneath my Chanel videos saying, you know, either you don't care about, I mean, you say like, oh, you love your Chanel bags made in Italy. You don't care if they're made in Italy or made in France. Dacob, what do you think? Dacob, why do you think made in France is better? Because, you know, I prefer my Chanel bags to be made in France, when they can be, than made in Italy. And a lot of you ask, why do you prefer them to be made in France rather than made in Italy? Made in Italy is amazing too, and yada yada. So I'm going to really explain to you my logic behind this, which is, I know it's a geeky logic of a Chanel lover. So just bear with me. I'm going to share with you my experience with Chanel bags made in Italy and made in France, quality and what have you, and then the stylistic choices, the reasons behind why made in Italy as opposed to made in France, or why made in France as opposed to made in Italy is something that I prefer. So this video is about Chanel made in France versus made in Italy. What is better? Before we get to the details of the video, if you like my channel, please consider subscribing to my channel. You can also push the join button next to the subscription button and become a member today. Become a member and gain access to extra perks. You can also join me on Patreon, superdacob all spelled together. On Patreon, you also get extra perks. Amongst the perks being exclusive videos, but also being listed at the end of every video I produce as a co-producer in the final credits of the video. Thank you also to my live co-chatters. This video is being filmed live during a live stream with a virtual audience in the chat bar on the side. Thank you guys so much for chatting with me. We're going to review and give our opinions together. You guys also in the chat, I know a lot of you Chanel lovers are there as well. Let me know what your preference is, made in France or made in Italy for Chanel bags, while I am reviewing my stuff here to let you know my opinions. So this is where it's at. I'm going to show you, I want to make this video quite short and simple, right? Because a lot of you have been also telling me videos are too long. Okay, fine, we're going to shorten it down. The essence, I've taken an exemplary Chanel bag made in France, an exemplary Chanel bag made in Italy. And now, why do I prefer made in France, first of all? Ooh, child. Okay, maybe it's not going to be that short of a video after all. Chanel is a French brand. They have a factory. They have a factory outside of Paris, where they, amongst other factories that they have, but one of them, the one that they like to talk about a lot and pride themselves in having, is in France, outside of Paris, where they make their bags. Some of their bags, mostly 255 reissues, some timeless classics in certain sizes, some seasonal bags that are a little bit more complicated to make with certain tweeds or certain materials, what have you. Not that, you know, some complicated bags are also made in Italy, but some timeless classics, 255s, reissues are also made in Italy. However, this is how I see it. So Chanel prides itself for having its own factory outside of Paris where they make their own bags. They're super proud of it. I'm like, okay, good. Well then, for the prices you're charging, I want that proud, being proud factory making my bag from Chanel. Some bags, seasonal bags, are sourced out. They're only made, not even sourced out, like they're not made in France at all. They're made only in Italy. Or some small leather goods are like even made in Spain. But if I know that you make a classic bag or small leather good in France, I also know that you make only a certain capacity in France, and then when that capacity has expired or has been fulfilled, the rest is sourced out to another factory. And then from season to season it varies. So I'm going to show you the first example. The Wallet Unchained, which is a classic Chanel small leather good, but a lot of people consider it a bag as well. Now, I could have shown you my, 255 reissue classic size, the jumbo. I could have showed you the double flap, timeless clasp. No, I wanted to show you something simpler, quintessential. This is a wallet on chain that was made in France. They also make the wallet on chain in Italy. And I'm not so sure if I've ever seen a wallet on chain made in Spain. But anyway, this one is from 2015. If Chanel makes a wallet on chain in France, I'm going to want it made in France. I'll prefer it made in France to made in Italy because I know that they're going to first produce what they can in France, and then what they can't produce, they're going to source out. Mind you, I chose to show you a classic caviar black with gold hardware. I'm not showing you a seasonal material or a seasonal colorway of the wallet on chain. I'm just showing you the classic that's always in production. So I waited maybe 2 seasons until the wallet on chain was produced in France, and that's when I bought it. Okay, it is less puffy. This is the nature of the French version of the wallet on chain. I mean, you know, when you open it, of course, here it gets these creases because this leather was bent and sewn into this shape to be rounded. But it is less puffy, and a lot of people love the puffy Chanels. I'm not a big fan of the over puff, to be honest with you. It's very 80s and 90s, fine, but I like them when they're a bit more flat. So the French version of the wallet on chain is a flatter style. So again, immediately here we see, it's an aesthetical choice. You prefer the wallet on chain to be puffy? Hunt down the made in Italy one. If you like it more flat, I consider it more elegant when it's flatter. Then you go for the made in France. So that's a stylistic choice as well. It's not just about made in Italy or made in France in this case. It's also about a style. They're less puffy. In my experience, the ones I've seen up to now are always less puffy when they're made in France. The smell of it. I love the leather smell of this one. So, okay, so this is a wallet on chain that I hunted down made in France. Took me 2 seasons, but my sales associate finally called me and said, Dacob, the Chanel boutique just got one in. And I was like, yes, queen. I went and I got it. It's a stylistic choice also, meaning it's a preference. It's just a preference. You know, I don't think you need to justify why you prefer made in France to made in Italy. It's not like it's better made in Italy or made in France. I just prefer it that way. It's a flavor that I prefer. It's like I prefer to have, I prefer bitter chocolate to milk chocolate. They're both chocolate, you know. They have a different flavor in a way. Okay, maybe this is a bad example because everybody loves chocolate. So when I say dark chocolate, milk chocolate, you're gonna taste it in your mouth. But something maybe a bit more nuanced, a bit more subtle. I don't know. Like for example, geez Louise, I don't know. I don't know. I prefer this apple to that apple. The Granny Smith to another Granny Smith that's less green. Whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's the same product, slight nuance. To me, it's like a cherry on top of the cake to have it made in France if it's a French product. However, and here's the however, I'm more than happy to buy a Chanel bag, a Chanel leather good, made in Italy when that bag in that season was only produced in Italy. Not sourced out because they produced a couple of them in France and then after that amount was produced, they sourced the rest out to Italy, but they produced everything in Italy. So here's a wonderful example of a bag that I love and use a lot. One of my favorite Chanel bags because it's the one I utilize the most. This is a made in Italy bag. This is the Korea Cruise Collection, Chevron, single flap, medium size, aged, like a crimpled, you could say aged, de-stressed lambskin. You could check out the review, the wear and tear review, and the second review that I made of that. I made a lot of videos dedicated to this one on my channel. Link will be down below, but also in the card section up above. This one is made in Italy. Gorgeous, divine, perfect quality, sublime, loving it. A bit simpler than their other bags. It has one flap, very simplified, single compartment here. It does have a zip pull, but that's all besides the point. The point is quality is amazing. So I've had this bag now, 5 years? It's incredible. I love it to bits. It's so thick but squishy at the same time. And I love the smell of it too. So do I love this bag? Yes, I love this bag so much. I love this Chanel bag made in Italy so much. And I bought it especially because, I love the shape. I love the tiny chevron. I mean, look at it. Isn't it like butter? Hold on, this little tags thing. Like, you guys, where is this thing? There. It's, I mean, look at Italy knows it's leather. I ain't saying Italy doesn't know how to do it. Another issue is, however, the Italian factory doesn't just produce bags for Chanel. It also produces for other brands, right? The French factory, the Chanel factory, produces only Chanel bags. Well, or so they say. I would think they do. So that's another thing that I'm like, well, okay, you're priding yourself in something so much, and then, but you can't keep, demand. You can't keep with the requests coming in and the demand. So you're sourcing out a couple of the bags as well. Like, I get it, but then like maybe wouldn't it be more fair to make the ones that are sourced out cost less than the ones that are actually made in France? I know they're never going to do that because that would imply that they admit that certain bags are better than others. Like the same model bag produced in France and then produced in Italy, and the one produced in Italy would cost less. Like, no brand would ever do that. And it's really counterproductive to the brands, and I'm very well aware of that. But I'm just saying, my way of thinking ultimately is this. If you produce this seasonal bag that was a one-off only in Italy, I'm totally fine with it. If you produce this in France and in Italy, then I would wait till I hunt down the one made in France. There's a lot of jumbos, timeless classic jumbos made in Italy. A few are made in France, but most of them are made in Italy. So you can wait a couple of seasons, wait a couple of price increases, and then you get one made in France, and then you're lucky, or you buy the one that's available, which is mostly made in Italy. The bigger ones are usually made in Italy. I've never seen a small timeless classic made in Italy. I've seen them only made in France. I know some of you in the comment sections usually tell me, no, Dacob, some of them are made in Italy. I've never seen one made in Italy. But I've seen a bunch of jumbos and a bunch of maxis. Actually, all the maxis I've ever seen were made in Italy. The jumbos mostly made in Italy, some made in France. And the 255, the biggest 255s, the maxi 255s, I've only seen them made in Italy. The jumbo, which I have, made in Italy and made in France. The one I have is made in France, but a lot of them I've seen made in Italy. And truth be told, even the small, the regular size 255 reissue, I've seen a couple made in Italy, but I have one made in France because I was like, I ain't going to get that one made in Italy. So, but I have nothing against made in Italy per se. Now, let me tell you one more thing. Very interesting about this debate and this topic, like made in Italy versus made in France. One of my dearest, she's a little bit older now, one of my dearest sales associates, she started working for Chanel in the early 90s. She has seen it all. She has been through all the price increases, all of the wonderful, the style facets and changes. And first of all, before I get to what she told me, let me tell you, the way she deals with the chains, when she shows you a Chanel bag, how effortlessly, she's not anal about it at all. No, she doesn't do it with gloves. How effortlessly she pulls because when they take these bags out to show them to you, right? They're usually like this, they're in their storage like that. The chain is like pulled to one side, well, even tighter, and then it's inside. So how she pulls out the chain, she takes it out like this, and then she just kind of like, I'm not going to do it now because I don't want to, I am not so effortless like she is. And I mean, that's not her bag. She's selling them. This is my bag. So I ain't going to tuck too much on it. Hold on a second. The way she does it, hold on, is this the right length? Yeah. The way she does it, she hypnotizes you. This kind of, you guys, if you know commercials from the 80s or from the 80s in particular, how luxury was portrayed with that effortless, debonair chic, that kind of lifestyle, that flowing, fluent effortlessness. Now luxury is more something anally retentive. It seems something really obnoxious and cringy. I really don't like. In the 80s, it was a different mood. It was more like, oh, enjoy it, darling. And you buy a bag and then they give you a huge bottle of perfume as a gift to go with it. That type of giving. And she comes from that era. Sometimes when I am lucky enough, because now she only works part-time and she has like these really huge customers already from the 80s and 90s who still keep buying a lot. So she reduced her 5-day job to 2 days. And like when she works those 2 days, all of the clients that she had within 5 days rush to her because they want to shop with her. So I rarely get a chance to really spend time with her. I always spend time with her on Coco's birthday. She knows I come in on the 19th of August and then we have fun together. I bring cake and stuff. But other than that, when I'm lucky enough to actually spend a day, I cannot a full day, but some time with her, if I don't want to buy a bag and I don't want to get it from her, you best believe I'm going to get a perfume gift with it or something. She's going to throw in a little, others don't do that anymore because Chanel's become stingy, because luxury has become all about like, I could, but I'm not gonna, you know that, ugh. Anyway, I digress. What she told me, she's like, oh, Dacob, because I always tell her I want made in France, I don't want made in Italy. She's like, oh, Dacob, forget about that. That is silly nonsense. You know how many times I went to visit the factory outside of Paris where they're doing these bags? She's like, they're lazy. The French are lazy. They sit down, they make a bag, then they sit, drink a coffee, a little waiting time. Let's make another bag. I'm sure things have changed. That's how it might have been in the 80s and 90s. Now the factory is working much quicker. But beyond that, she said, Italy produces better leather, what she said. And she says, like, Italian Chanel bags have something more supple about them. They're less dry in their overall feel. And I told her, yeah, I get it. They do have something more supple. Italy knows its leather. There's no doubt about that. But Coco Chanel, already in her lifetime, some of the bags and some other products were produced in Italy. So it's not like this thing changed after she passed away. But Coco Chanel herself was this type of dry woman. And I like that her bags have something strict, dry, almost, like Aubazine, like the orphanage where she was raised with the nuns. There's something, they're deprived of something. They're dried out in a certain way. And I like that aesthetic. So I enjoy my supple, delicious, juicy Italian leathers and Chanel bags made in them thoroughly. But then I really, really get a kick out of that. Dried out, not so puffy, more austere, a little bit more like French version of the Wallet on Chain that's less puffy and less shiny as well. The 255s reissues that I have, the Made in France ones, they're a little bit more mattified. They're not as supple as the Italian ones. I prefer it that way. I prefer it. To me, this is more Chanel. Okay? It's a flavor. Even though my sales associate herself said, hey, Dacob, listen, dude, telling you, made in Italy is amazing quality. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I have a bunch of Chanel bags made in Italy, and it's fine. But my heart skips a beat when I do see one made in France. And yes, I have to admit, if you're going to offer me the same model bag, the same Wallet on Chain, 2 of them, you're like, here, I got 2 for you. I'm going to look inside and I'm going to buy the one made in France. Granted, both are flawless, like both don't have any production issues. Of course, if one has a stitch missing, I'm going to buy the one that has a full-on stitch, obviously. But let's say both have perfect stitch, no flaws, no defect, no dents, whatever. I'm going to grab the one made in France any day over the one made in Italy. I mean, it's the nature of the beast. It's a Chanel, it's a French brand, and I want it to be completely made in France where possible. Now, I know the leathers are in most cases imported from other countries, not from Europe, blah, blah, blah. And just the final touches, maybe they just put the bag together in France, but a lot of the raw ingredients don't come from France. Yeah, I get that. But at least, finalize it in France. And I know that Italy has a better heritage and tradition of leather making than France does in many cases. That's all good and fine. This has nothing to do with the quality. I'm repeating to you, I prefer the flavor of the made in France. I hope this explains a bit more to you what it is now. But I really enjoy my Chanel bags made in Italy. And I have to say, psychologically also, I use them more because I mostly buy the seasonal ones that are made in Italy, because most of the seasonal ones are made in Italy. But also, I feel like when they're made in Italy, they're a bit more, they're less delicate, they're more precious to me, so I end up using them more and more freely than the ones that are made in France. The ones that are made in France, I care extra for them. And they feel a little bit more fragile too. Not that the quality is lesser, they just feel like more precious to me. Does that make any sense? Because I know that in the comment section, a lot of people are going to be like saying this and that and no, and I don't know, fights, debates. No, Dacob, you're crazy. You guys, there's nothing right or wrong about whether or not you want your bag to be made in France or not. There's nothing right or wrong about it. It's just personal preference. Like, listen, oh, this is better than the apple and the chocolate comparison. Even a better comparison is this. Between how I see the difference made in France and made in Italy, Chanel bags. It's the same like asking me, do you prefer gold hardware or silver hardware? They're both chains. They both hold the bag together. You know, they're both functional chains. It's just one is gold and one is silver. The same quality. It's the same metal. Just one is toned in one way and the other one toned in another way. I prefer gold hardware. I have a couple of silver, but I prefer gold hardware. So, but that doesn't mean I'm never going to buy silver hardware. I have a couple of bags that are silver hardware too, but I just prefer the look of the gold hardware. Just like I prefer to have that stamp inside the bag that says made in France rather than made in Italy. It's a flavor, it's a taste, it's a preference. I repeat, has nothing to do with actual quality. In some cases, made in Italy has better quality than made in France, but it's the overall look and flavor of it. They both smell amazing, by the way. The leathers. The Italian leather, the French leather, although the French leather does smell a little bit better. But I have to say, I'm a little bit biased. Like, I have the feeling like, oh, the French one smells better. But, you know, they both smell really good, though. But, yeah, it's just like preferring, okay, gold to silver, you know, ruthenium to ever so black or so black, whatever you call it. That's all it is at the end of the day. Test them out. Look at them. A lot of you have been commenting throughout the years under my videos like, hey, Dacob, you know, I've been listening to your videos. I went to the boutique and I got 2 medium flaps and one was made in Italy, black caviar. One was made in France, black caviar, the same bag. The one made in Italy looked better. I bought that one. That's totally fine. Chances are maybe it was even better. Maybe the leather was even treated better. But at the end of the day, to me, it's not necessarily about the fact that the leather is better or not. It's more about that feeling. It's about a feeling. It's about a mood. And my mood prefers the made in France mood. For Chanel. For Chanel. But I also love their made in Italy bag. I love a lot of the things they do. So, but anyway, but it's good to debate. It's a healthy debate with no winner or loser. It's like both are fine. Just, you know, you do you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've liked this comparison, made in Italy versus made in France. Cha. I love my Chanel bags. Let me read your comments, actually. Well, okay. So we're scrolling the credits. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel and push the join button to become a member today. If you become a member, you get access to extra perks. You also get access to extra perks if you join me on Patreon. Superdacob all spelled together. One of the perks is your name is scrolling here at the bar, at the end credits bar. You are one of the co-producers of the Fashion Bunker, and thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being that. Look how many of you are there. Warms my heart. And while the actual, what you might call it, while the actual end credits have started, let me also tell you to follow me on my Instagram my Instagram profile is one superdacob all spelled together, but I have 2 dedicated to Chanel. My personal Chanel collection Instagram profile is called Coco Chanel is in my house, where you get to see close-ups of all these bags and all my Chanel collection, all the things I love about Chanel. And the other one is called Coco Chanel Privé, all spelled together, dedicated to the life of Coco and just enjoying her life and celebrating her life and bringing her memory back to life. So there's that. I'm going to read your comments now. Mr. Philip Fabulous says, of course the French version would be less puffy. Them French bags are not allowed to eat chips. No, they're not. Leslie says, I'm a fan of the flatter puff. Me too. I like Dita Fontiz's peach. Rich Mitch likes Dita. It's not, well, very Chanel related topic. That's funny, Dacob. Most of us French people do not care whether it's made in France or in Italy. We just care about the look, says MK. Well, as I said, the look is usually more dry with a Chanel version leather, with a French version Chanel bag leather. Italian tanneries are as skilled as the French. I think you typically have a foreigner's point of view, much more fundamentalist when it comes to the brand's mythology. MK, you always go into this foreigner belonging, not belonging to something. That's not what I'm about. Just saying. Robert says, glad to hear that. Lan, your halo, sweetie, welcome. My essay at the San Francisco Chanel boutique was so lovely and always gave me a little extra gift when I bought something. It's rare, I know. I miss that store. When I hear you talking, Dacob, you remind me of the Japanese Chanelas. They are as picky about details as you are. Oh yes, MK, I is picky. Mr. Philip says, Italy. No, it's leather, but France sure knows its craft. Yeah, bitches. Those skillful fingers need a coffee break every hour on the hour. It's a craftsmanship, not a production line. Well said, Mr. Philip Fabulous. Olfactive Story says, of course we need coffee breaks and lunch breaks. We are humans, not machines. I agree with you, Olfactive Stories, completely. Audrey says, all of my Chanel bags are made in France. It's just part of the heritage for me. However, I do have one vintage Chanel vanity, which was made in Italy. Debbie says, yes, it's personal preference. Mr. Philip Fabulous says, coming from an ex-smoker, a coffee without a cigarette is nothing but a hot water with some flavor. Kira says, personal preference is everything. We like what we like. MK says, oh, sorry, the thing scrolled away. There is a girl working at a cake shop in Paris, Marais. She used to work in Chanel tannery atelier and got so disgusted by the vibes there that she stopped working in the leather industry. That's a very good point, MK. Every time she sees my Chanel stuff, I can feel her stress and anxiety. Mr. Philip Fabulous says, on that question, is Italian? Always. I don't understand that. Edu says, I totally understand you. The same thing when an Italian opera is sung in English. Oh, that's a good point, Edu. Rich Mitch says, yo, I'm on the credit. Of course you are, Rich. You've been updated. You sent a super chat. You're in the credits. Guys, if you send a super chat or a donation to the Fashion Bunker through the donation, a link, you also of course gain access to the credits at the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Till next time, never forget to never give up on love. Love you all. See you soon. Take care. Bye.